In this video, I'm going to talk with you about highly sensitive children and various aspects of that. So, first of all, I'll talk with you in this here today about three types of highly sensitive children, and then we'll talk about how many kids there are that are like that, and what's going on in terms of this, and then I'll talk about some of the challenges that some of them experience and some of the causes, and then we'll do a healing exercise at the end. So this video is going to be a bit long, but this is a really important issue. So if this fits for you, you may want to listen in. My name is Rémi. So first of all, I'll tell you who I am so you can decide is it worth listening to me or not. I've been in the helping field now for some decades, and my training is family therapy. I'm certified as a trainer, so I've trained a bunch of psychologists and social workers and healers and family therapists and etc. So, and I've worked with all kinds of difficulties in relation to individual, couple, and family. So some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about with you may relate to you specifically. You may still have some unresolved issues from way back in the good old days, and you may have tried to resolve it and haven't succeeded. So, and the same applies, of course, for your loved one. They may have some challenges, your beloved. They may have some challenges as well that they may not even be aware of. They don't know what to do, etc. So, so first of all, the three types of highly sensitive kids. So one of them is it's called HSP, highly sensitive person. And there's a bunch of research that's been done regarding that, and there's different types of sensitivity. Some of them are really sensitive to their environment, to lighting, and etc. Going to shopping centers. For some of them, they're really affected, but they're really sensitive to negativity around them, and so on. And there's another type. Second type is empaths. So they absorb, they're so sensitive, they absorb the negativity into them. And that's not true for all highly sensitive children. So different solutions are needed for different types of kids. And the third one is sensitive souls. So they come in, there's more and more children that are coming in now. They're really, really highly attuned to the universe and to energies and so on. So they can be knocked out by coming to Earth and saying, oh my God, what do I do with this? So here's some examples of potential challenges that may have affected you or may affect your children and so on. So, and your beloved. So anxiety and depression, trauma, a secondary trauma. What that is I'll give you an example of this. There's this mother that was quite sensitive and good heart and so forth, helping the world. And when she held her baby, baby cried. Put the baby down, baby most of the time quiet, calm, happy. Pick baby up, baby cry. So the baby was impacted negatively by her unresolved energy, some stuff that she carried. She had been abused and she had gone through various things, and so she was carrying that in her energy field and didn't know how to handle it. So so this relates to there's a number of aspects in terms of this. I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Part of what happens with boys is that initially, when we're very small, we connect really well with the mother, and boys are more likely to be wiggly and less eye contact and so forth. So the cuddle and so forth. The first year, research shows the first year and a half of life, boys are less likely to get some of the cuddling. So the nurturing the bonding between parent and child. So, and then at age 4, part of what happens is that boys need to differentiate from their mother, and a lot of them have shut down. So it's not that they're not as sensitive as girls, it's that they made a decision when they were small. I have to be a boy, I have to be male, I have to be like my dad. Um, the dad may or may not be around, they may have separated, and etc. So they shut themselves down. I can't be a sissy, and there's all kinds of bullying and so forth that happens at school and so on in terms of towards highly sensitive kids, all 3 types. One of the things that happens is there's some kids that end up picking up learning difficulties because they're so sensitive, partly shut down when they're very tiny. So there's some healing that can be done, clearing and transmuting for most, if not all, of these things. So, and it's easy to give up. Like we had have one son. He's now 35, and he was really sensitive, and so he ended up acting out and having learning difficulties and etc. So I get it profoundly, and as a result, I said, so I ended up in my practice. I worked with lots of highly sensitive people and so on, and I had to learn over time that traditional forms of therapy often are not enough, so I had to go more broadly. I ended up combining Western and Eastern methods of transformation and so forth. So I'll talk more about that near the end. So, there are various types of various causes why a highly sensitive person can go off base. One of them is in utero. So there's some research that shows now that even before being born, the fetus, the baby, is very attuned to the mother and to the environment. If the mother's having difficulties, anxiety, depression, difficulties with dad, difficulties in the environment, if she has unresolved issues from her growing up, all of that can impact the fetus, especially sensitive ones. So it affects everybody, but more sensitive people are more like canaries in the coal mine, so they're more fully affected by these things. So the first year and a half of life as well, the bonding issue, I talked about the connection between mother and baby, depending on what's going on. Some souls, some children come in and they don't particularly want to be here. They feel the energies in the world and they say, "Oh, I don't want that." So some are shut down right off the bat. For others, the parent wasn't very available because they had to work 2-3 jobs, or because mom had postpartum, the difficulties in terms of money and worry about that, and living in a war zone and so on. So all of that, it can affect the connection between the small child and the parent and the world, and impact in terms of achieving in the world, so school later on. So another aspect that comes along later on is bullying. Really sensitive kids, especially males, not only males, are more likely to get bullied. So they end up shutting down, reacting in various ways, and so on. Yet another one is a family breakdown. If there's a divorce at any point over the course of the child's growing up. So these are various aspects that are really important, but I'm also talking with you about the energetic level, because there's piles of research out there that talks about ACE, adverse childhood experiences, stuff that people experience in the first 18 years of life, but they don't talk about the sensitivity and most of it, and how it impacts people and what you can do and so on. Females are more likely to be more sensitive, not always, and so they can be impacted more fully, more likely to go into anxiety, depression, trauma. So one last thing one last aspect that I want to tell you is the divorce and relationship breakdown and etc. And the last one that I want to talk about with you today is an unhealthy environment. So living in a place that's fairly toxic. So for me, in my wisdom, when I was a little kid, I was terrified of things. Every night going to bed was absolutely terrifying. And my parents had no clue, and they were busy. They were busy sitting on the porch having tea or whatever they did, because their lives were full and they didn't have time, energy, capacity to look after their kids, their child going through major difficulties, going through small difficulties, being able to be empathic and so on. So you think in terms of the parenting that you experienced when you were growing up, and think in terms of what's been going on while your child has been growing up, and whether any of these apply. All of these can be cleared and transmuted. Okay, so these are just examples. There's more that we can use. So in terms of environment, some people live close to a cemetery. Some people, their schools. There's in a city near me. They turned the school into. It used to be a jail, and they transformed it into a school. Think in terms of that very toxic energy that's there, and the impact on their children, on the children who go there, particularly highly sensitive ones. And then another aspect in terms of unhealthy environment is the broader environment, like global warming and wars and so on. So there's a higher rate of kids being suicidal these days in the US, for example. Any given year, 20% of kids in high school end up being quite suicidal, feeling strongly suicidal. 10% end up trying it. So, and you may have heard there's a sizable proportion that end up accomplishing it. So they may cope with difficulties in different ways. So the suicidal stuff, the shutting down, hiding on mama's couch in the basement and playing video games for some years, including by 30 years old and still sitting there for some. And so there's a feeling of it's pointless. It's pointless to try to do anything for some. Or I can't do it. I'm unable. I don't have the capacity. I'm too, they might not say this, I'm too sensitive. The world just feels toxic. I don't want. Right? So, and we can try to be strong and you have to blah, blah, blah. The issue is that they're highly sensitive and we have to help them to resolve the difficulties. And all of it, you can think of all of it as energy, and the kids are sensitive to energy. And what can I do at the energetic level to help transmute, rather than in 3D, or rather than as a talking cure, like going to see a therapist or counselor, etc., and talking on and on for a long time. Or behavior therapy, family therapy, and the tendency to try to change people's behaviors and so forth. The parents change their behavior in relation to the child and vice versa and so on. Some of it can be really helpful. If you've tried some of these things and it's not helpful for you, it's time, like I had to do, have to go out of the box and say, okay, now what? Okay, now let's talk a little bit about some of the methods. So some of the stuff that I've tried to begin with, I started forever ago working in a group home with teenagers who were out of control in quotation marks. So, and then that wasn't enough. So I said, okay, well, I need to look more broadly. So I looked at the family. So I went back to school. And 2 university degrees and 5 years of intensive training after that. So I became certified as a couple and family therapist, and more training after that, certified as a trainer. That wasn't enough for some people. And I'm not good, I am absolutely not good at saying, well, this person didn't improve, so therefore, or this family, so therefore it's their fault. There's something wrong with them. My tendency is instead is to say, what's going on here? Let me look more deeply to try to figure things out, to try to help them. I've been my pattern, so I've done some research on the effectiveness of my work with different types of families, working with people with different cultures, single parent families as compared to blended families and intact families, etc. Depression, substance abuse issues, so all of that. So, and as a result, my work ended up improving more and more. And I had to become more and more, my work had to become more and more weird. So, working with sensitive people, I had to connect with my sensitivity more fully, and I had to look out of the box in terms of like with my son, ended up having some difficulty because he was really quite sensitive, and so I ended up having to try all kinds of things from all over the place. And I ended up boiling it down to the few essential things that most forms of therapy don't talk about, don't deal with. So so working with sensitivity, working at the energetic level, so visualizations, for example, to help to clear and transmute some of the negativity they carry. So if there's a bunch of toxic energy in their environment, for example, the parents are arguing, or going to school and the environment's toxic, or living close to a cemetery, etc. It's like a dark cloud, a dense cloud that covers the child. It affects their energy field, their aura. And if you're a sensitive person, you may not be conscious that this impacts you, but look more closely. What about if my work is toxic, the energy is toxic? How am I when I'm in other places than work? And for your child, how's my child away from school as compared to at school, and etc. Or hanging out with one particular child, and so on. So needing to assess. So working with methods called energy psychology, which is a combination of Eastern and Western methods of transformation, visualizations, including work with high beings, and so on. So let's do a little, a bit of an exercise now. So if you're driving and so forth, I suggest you watch this at a time when you're able to be quiet and peaceful. I'll do it for you, and we have to do it for your child as well. I work with a variety of high beings. It's yeah, I could say a whole bunch about that, but I work with, for example, Christ energy and Goddess Kuan Yin and Archangel Metatron and so on. So let's start to clear your aura first and your child. Lords of Karma and Archangel Michael. Clear the energy field for both of you. And if there's other family members, more than one child, or if dad is in the picture living with you, or if there's conflict between you and they're separated now, you and your ex, we'll clear for the people involved. Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, clear the etheric layer. emotional, mental, Buddhic, atmic, galactic, and so on. Let's ask to clear for your child when your child was small, he or she. So during the pregnancy, there may or may not have been any major, there may or may not have been any major challenges, or there may have been some that your child could feel, but you could not. So let's ask Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, to clear in utero. Assuming you're the mother, clear for you in your belly. If you're the father, you do clearing for them. So you do some distance healing for both. Creative peace. Archangel Metatron is the being that's in charge of helping these advanced soul kids, highly sensitive kids, and etc. We ask Archangel Metatron to help with this. So it could be that they were impacted, like the nervous system, so we're calming the nervous system. Could be it affected the brain in utero. So let's ask for healing of the brain. We're going very quickly, so the stuff that I'm doing with you won't fix everything. And if the issue is you live in a toxic environment, it's like going to the gym. If you go one time, it doesn't cut it. You have to do it regularly. So you may want to do some of these exercises on a daily basis. Do some healing the first year and a half of life of the child. So that could be you. That could be you in relation to your child, or for your child only. That's for greater peace. Bring in goddess energy for these things. So Mother Mary and Kuan Yin. Stay with that for a little bit. Bring in greater connection. If there's been damage in the connection between you and your child, we ask the universe, we ask Spirit to help to repair some of the connection. There may be a number of things you need to do, right? But we're doing a little bit for now. You may want to go put your hand on your heart chakra. Sorry. Going into healing and compassion for you. Go into self-compassion for some of the stuff that you may have experienced growing up. So it's healing compassion. Let's ask for high being energy that feels right for you. So that you may think of it as it's the unmanifest, or a particular high being like Christ, for example, or Krishna, for example. Do it, or your higher self. Do this in a way that feels right for you, these exercises. One of the things that happened for those of you who struggle with the substance abuse issues, it relates to the bonding time, so the first year and a half of life. So you do more healing in terms of that. It's like we have a hole inside of us. There's a number of things that need to be done, but this is one aspect. Good. Good. Now, let's go towards wrapping up. So our website, you'll see below, is quantumunion.com. You can get more information, and you'll see there that I've written 2 books in the past. So one of them relates to highly sensitive children, and the other one relates to family breakdown. So you may or may not be interested in that. We have a number of webinar series on our website. One of them is Parenting Advanced Soul Children, that may be a fit for you, or multidimensional transformation. The webinar series teaches people a whole list of transformational methods. May or may not be of interest to you. So, but in any case, we're going to do more videos relating to children and parenting and etc. So if you're interested in more of this, just hit the button below. Register with us. Thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.